Hey y'all, so I am back with a watch me work. Today I have my daughter and I'm going to get to finally do her nails. I have not had a chance to do them and she's been super patient with me. She knows I've been really busy, so now we're finally getting a chance. So to start off, I'm going to do all my natural nail prep. So I have already pushed back her epinicium and now I'm coming in with my cuticle bit and I'm just running that through the back of her nail. Now, she always has a lot of cuticle build up, so I have to make sure that I do all of my prep when it comes to her. Now I'm coming in with my sanding band, and as you can see, the edge of that sanding band, well, the top part of it is white. That's where I took my hand file and I buffed that sanding band. I do not want to cut my client, so this is what is going to help with that. And I also like to really get in there with my sanding band. So first I go in with the cuticle bit, but I don't go in too hard because I know I'm going to come in with my sanding band and get whatever is left. So using this and turning the client's hand the way I need it to. So like when I go on the sidewalls, I turn her hand, I use the top of the sanding bit to go up the sidewall, back through the cuticle area, and then down to the opposite sidewall, and then I go through the body. So this is my natural nail prep. So I've mentioned before, clients with super tiny nails, I like to use a certain tip. These are the nail tips from Btartbox, and they have a curve to them. Not a C curve, but as you can see on the top of that tip is a nice curve. Now these give off a very particular look to me. So they give you a curve without having that C curve towards the tip. They give you pretty much that bump on the top of the surface of the nail, which really enhances the nail and makes it look like it's more than what it is without it looking too wide. So I love these for tiny nails. These are the only tips that I use on her. Now I don't use these for everybody. They have to be used upon requests. They have to ask me for these tips because I prefer a straight tip overall. And tips are so important, y'all. I have a variety, okay, of different tips, and I use them all for different reasons. Different clients, if they have certain kinds of nail beds, I'll tend to use one over the other. For different designs, if it's one certain type of design, I want it to be full opaque in color, I'm going to use a natural tip. If I want more of a sheer or a see-through kind of design, I'm going to use a clear tip. So everything, all of your products, you need to use and manipulate to achieve the design you want. All that is necessary to me to have a different variety of tips. So to start my design, I've just started building up a reverse nail bed. We're going to be doing just a classic French, so the pink and white really, but we're using a nude, which is Valentino's Perfect Nude. I just recently got it and I have been using it up already. This one, the pinky, I'm going to be doing a ombre. So I'm going to start off with my white, and this white is from Mia's Secret. So I'm just going to start where the tip starts, and I'm going to point her finger down, and then I'm just going to really mold that onto that tip. Now, with these tips too, I want to mention you have to do your application different. It's not the same as if I was applying this just over a straight nail tip. The difference is that I apply directly going with this tip. I do not try to create anything outside of that. So I'm really focusing on the sidewalls and making sure that I keep it just the same as the tip. I do notice too that towards the back of the nail, I feel like you add more product because you have to keep checking the side and make sure that you're applying your apex the right way. Just because that bump is there on that tip, you can apply your acrylic there and think that it's enough, but it's not. It's just that bump giving you that false look. So you have to be careful about how you apply acrylic when you're using these tips. That's why I don't use them very often, because I feel like it is a lot of extra work when you're using these. It's worth it when, you know, the design is over. They're very pretty, but you have to know how to use it. You can't just go in and use 2 beads, 3 beads. No, you have to build this up. Now, as you can see, I applied the white. I'm coming in with my nude color, and normally I can do this in just 2 beads, but I have to build this up just because of how this tip is built. So I've applied already all of those beads, and you can see it was still sheer back there. So I'm coming in with another bead, and hopefully that will help build it up. So I think what it is that the tip is so high that you have to create that evenness within the back of the nail and with the tip. So that's why it's different when applying acrylic to these tips. So I'm back to my French nail, and I have already filed that into shape, and now I'm coming in with my white, and I'm just going to apply that with having my brush reversed and then pushing the white into that nail bed that I created, and then I'm going to bring it down through the tip. Now, you did see me cleaning off that nail bed. I'm still going to try to keep it clean, but at this point I'm like, I don't care, I'm going to get it on, and then I'll come back and I'll file off any white that has gotten onto that nail bed. It's going to be very minimal, but still I wanted to apply it this way, so I made sure that that white was fully pushed back into that wall that I created, so that way I won't have any shadowing. On the left side of that nail, you can kind of see where that white is not pushed in all the way. So I was too slow and I let it kind of build up there, but that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and file that anyway. So I will be filing some of that off. Now I'm going to make sure that I fill in any spots that need to. You always want to make sure that when you're done, well, when you think you're done, you still look at it and see if there's anything that you need to add. So I needed to add some at the tip. It was a little divot there, and then I'm going to make sure that I check the sides as well, and if I need to add some there, I'm going to do that also. Now, like I said, I'm going to come back and file this, so anything that I don't want, that's my chance to get rid of it before I cap it in clear. Okay, so for the ring finger, I'm going to be using this foil gel. So I have already applied a thin clear coat on this nail of acrylic, and I've let that dry, and now I'm coming in and adding a thin coat of the foil gel. So now that it has came out of the lamp, I cured it for 60 seconds. I'm going to come in with my foil. Now, to apply my foil, I always hover it over the nail, and then I press it down, and then I just rub that foil in. I rub it in for a hot minute to try to make sure that I'm getting a good peel away, especially since I want this to cover the entire tip. Now, if I was just doing like a little sparse area, it wouldn't matter. I wouldn't take so much time rubbing it in, but I want this to be full. I want to get all of that image. And I don't know if my top coat was old, if it just wasn't good foil or what, but I was having such a hard time with this foil. On this hand, it wasn't so bad, but on the opposite hand, oh, child, it was not doing right at all. Now, you have two things that you can do when something like this happens. You can start over, or you can add something to it to try to fix that or try to cover up what was missing. Now, with this design, it already had glitter on it. So instead of starting over, I just went and applied that glitter throughout the nail instead of just applying it one way, just to cover up those little itty bitty mistakes. Now, like I said, you could start over, but it's up to you. Only thing that matters to me is how it looks in the outcome. Now, I would never leave it just like this without trying to add anything to it. If this one didn't have anything on it, then yes, I would go in and start over and try to apply this better. Try to get a better peel away. Now, I was so distraught about it not peeling the right way that I forgot to add my top coat to it. So I'm going to add my top coat, cure that, and then I'll finish applying the glitter. And as I'm applying this, I'm not just going to throw it all over that tip. I still want you to see some of that good foil that's still left there. So I'm going to be precise about how I apply this. I don't want a lot. I'm only going to put very little where those spots are missing. So you see me adding some, taking it off, making sure that I only leave a little bit behind. I still want you to be able to see that foil. So for my pointer finger, I'm going to come in with that same glitter and I'm going to apply that at the cuticle area. And I dipped a bead of clear into just this raw glitter. That's how I'm using this glitter. Now you see I took a little bit of that away because I still want you to be able to see that clear tip, and then I just blended that down. This one I'm going to be doing some art on top, so this is pretty much just the background to this nail. So I went and capped all of the nails. The thumb was also a French, and now I'm going to start my finish filing. Now, another thing to note with these tips, you do have to file them a certain way. I do not file them the same way I file other nails. So what I'm doing is I'm going against the sidewall in pretty much a swiping motion. So I'm going up against the nail, pretty much up and out, and that's how I file the sides of these nails. Now the top surface of course is pretty much the same, but I'm still always checking the side of the nails to make sure that I'm filing my apex in the right way. So as y'all know, I like to change up my filing routine. So here lately, I've been starting out using my hand file instead of my e-file. So to do that, I'm doing it in a certain type of way though. I'm going to start by filing in the sides. So I'll do the left side, the right side, and then I'll come around the cuticle area, and then I'll go through the top of the nail and pretty much file the middle surface of the nail. Now I've always done this, and you can do this too with your e-file. Young Nails has a old video where he shows how he files, and it's pretty much the same. And also I seen a picture of someone who pretty much drew it out, and it just visually made it clear to me how you're supposed to file your nail. So I'm doing that, and I'm trying to get in the habit of filing my nails like that. So for my design on top of this finger, I'm going to be doing some flowers. So I'm going to start by adding my centerpiece first. I let that cure, and now I'm going to just start adding those petals to create my little flower. So I'm going to do two. So I'm going to jump back and forth to make these. Now doing this, anytime I'm doing 3D flowers, I find that the placement of your petals is what is going to make these flowers look good. So I always jump back and forth, but by doing this, I find that going clockwise is best. So start with your first petal and then work from the right in doing so. So by you doing this, you're putting the placement exactly where it needs to go. Instead, I always would do the top petal first, and then I'll do the bottom one. So doing that, I'm pretty much trying to fit those petals in between in as good as I can. But if you start going from the right, from the first petal that you create, then you're just following that first petal, and then you're following it down the nail and then all the way around, and it's going to create a better proportioned flower. So you can do this if you're doing more than one flower, or you can also do it just by taking your time and allowing those beads to set up. So once I'm done creating my flowers, I'm going to add just a little bit of art on the pinky. So I've already capped this nail with my top coat. I rubbed the inhibition layer off, and now I'm coming in with my striping brush and just some regular white gel polish, and I'm going to create an edge outside of my nail. So I'm just going to start at the sides of the nail, and then I'll go through the center of the tip. And once I have it full, you don't want it too thick. That's the thing with this kind of sugaring. You want to make sure that your polish is nice and thin. And then I'm going to come in and just sprinkle some glitter over the top. After I did that, I went and top coated all of the nails, and she was done. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all in another video. Bye.